What should the Arizona Cardinals do with that number 4 overall pick? How about exactly what they did in last year's draft? Trade out of that initial selection and then use some of that compensation to get back up inside the top 10 to land a premier prospect. And here's the thinking that would go into it this time around. The Cardinals are in a very unique and frankly quite luxurious situation. They have a ton of needs on the roster. You look at any position and it's probably in need of an upgrade. But it feels like the biggest needs for Arizona are at wide receiver, offensive tackle, even after picking Paris Johnson a year ago, and on the defensive line, most particularly at edge rusher. Fortunately for Arizona, it's a loaded wide receiver class, maybe the best and deepest offensive tackle class that we've had in a decade. And in the first round, there are quality talents at the defensive end spot. And the cherry on top is at number 4 overall, feels like the sweet spot for those teams looking to trade up to land a quarterback, whether it be Drake May or JJ McCarthy. But it feels like that will be a good locale for a team to get ahead of the New York Giants at 6 if they want one of these top flight quarterbacks. So this is perfect for the Cardinals. They sell to the highest bidder, whether it's the Giants from 6, Minnesota from 11, Denver from 12, or even Las Vegas from 13. But armed with 2 first-round picks today, it feels like the Vikings are the most likely to make that ascension into Arizona's spot at number 4 overall. And if that trade goes down, suddenly Arizona would have 8 picks inside the top 90. And while they certainly could make all of those selections to add to a depleted roster, but what would make more sense for GM Monty Ossenfort in this scenario, if they make that trade with the Vikings and have the 11th pick in the draft and 23, to use some of those early top 90 selections to get back inside the top 10 after trading back to land an elite wide receiver prospect like Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, or Rome Odunze from Washington, or maybe an offensive tackle or an edge rusher like Alabama's Dallas Turner. And how much would it cost for Arizona to move from 11 back to, say, pick 7 or pick 8? Well, based on the draft pick value chart that I use, made by RJ White, the managing editor of CBS Sportsline, pick 11 and Arizona's first selection in round 3, number 66 overall, and then throw in maybe a day 3 pick would be plenty to get to number 7 overall with the Tennessee Titans. In that scenario, the Cardinals get their wide receiver, whether it's Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., or Rome Odunze, and still would have picks 23, 27, and 35 in this year's draft. And that is exactly how you rebuild the team in a hurry. So the nifty draft navigation like we saw last year from GM Monty Ossenfort is precisely what he should do again in this year's draft.